Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Coming up in the next hour. US President Donald Trump and Japan Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi signed deal for critical minerals with an eye on China's dominance in global supply chains. Talks between Afghanistan and Pakistan in Istanbul to broker long-term truce ends without a resolution. Kenyan plane carrying foreign tourists crashes, 11 people killed. India's electronics exports boom continues. Smartphones exports hit record of $1.8 billion in September. Cyclone Monta makes landfall in India's east coast, bringing heavy rains. Hurricane Balisa hits Jamaica with unrelenting fury. US President Donald Trump's Asia diplomacy tour continues. On Tuesday, pageantry, lavish praises and an agreement on critical minerals and rare earths characterized the meeting of US President and the newly elected Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. The two leaders agreed to challenge China's dominance over supply of key electronic components. They hailed their defense partnership aboard US aircraft carrier George Washington, even as China expressed concern.
US President Donald Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi have signed a framework agreement for securing the supply of critical minerals and rare earths through mining and processing. The agreement seeks to wean reliance off China's chokehold on the materials crucial for a wide range of products from smartphones to fighter jets. US President Donald Trump was welcomed by Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi at the Alaska Palace in Tokyo on Tuesday, a week after the hardline conservative became Japan's first female leader.
It's a great honor to be with you, especially so early in what will be, I think, one of the greatest prime ministers. I think you will be one of the great, everything I know from Shinzo and others, you will be one of the great prime ministers.
Takaichi also joined Trump on a helicopter ride over Tokyo to the United States Naval Base in Yokosuka, which is home to the aircraft carrier USS George Washington, part of the US military's powerful presence in the region. The leaders were greeted by thousands of cheering American troops. Takaichi took the stage and praised what she called the greatest alliance in the world and pledged to increase defense spending. Meanwhile, around 100 protesters took to the streets of Tokyo on Monday to protest against US President Donald Trump's visit and his meeting with the newly elected Japanese Prime Minister. They held placards criticizing Trump and Takaichi and accusing Japan and the United States of waging war against China. China's foreign ministry also reacted to the high-profile meeting, saying that the developments of the US-Japan relations and security cooperation should contribute to regional peace and stability and urged Japan to respect the security concerns of its neighbors.
The Asia-Pacific region stands as a bastion of peace development. The development of bilateral relations and security cooperation between the United States and Japan should help safeguard regional peace and stability rather than the opposite.
Earlier, US President Donald Trump also met with Japan's Emperor Naruhito at the Imperial Palace in Tokyo on Monday as part of an Asia trip that was aimed at securing trade deals, investments, and increased defense spending. Trump is also set to meet China's Xi Jinping in South Korea on Thursday. Bureau Report, DD India.
And China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi spoke to Japan's Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi on Tuesday, where he emphasized the importance of high-level exchanges. He hinted that Chinese President Xi Jinping might meet Japan's new Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi sometime soon. Both leaders are set to attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation APEC summit in South Korea this week, which could be the perfect chance for them to meet face-to-face on neutral ground. Takaichi is known for her tough stance on China, so any interaction between her and Xi would be closely watched. Experts say Beijing is keeping a close eye on how Japan and the US might strengthen their relationship under Takaichi's leadership. If that happens, it could shake up the power dynamics in the Asia-Pacific region. China has long opposed US-Japan actions it sees as threatening its regional interests, especially American troop deployments in Japan, which analysts say help deter Chinese moves against Taiwan. Moving on, the US government shutdown has entered day 27th with no end in sight. Air travel has been hit hard. Over 7,000 flights are delayed as air traffic controller absences rise amid the funding freeze. The shutdown's impact is spreading. Millions risk losing food assistance and federal workers face mounting layoffs. The next report navigates through what is happening across the United States with regard to shutdown in terms of its impact.
The US government shutdown is now on day 27 with no resolution in sight, as both sides remain entrenched in their positions over the second longest funding lapse in history. More than 7,000 flights were delayed in US on Monday, with air traffic controller absences surging due to the impact of the federal government's shutdown. The Federal Aviation Administration has cited staffing shortages and imposed ground delay programs affecting Newark Airport in New Jersey, Austin Airport in Texas, and Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Flights in the southeast were delayed earlier due to significant staffing shortages at the Atlanta Terminal Radar Approach Control. Roughly 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 Transportation Security Administration officers must work without pay after a budget impasse between Republican President Donald Trump and congressional Democrats triggered the shutdown. The Trump administration has warned flight disruptions will increase as controllers miss their first full paycheck on Tuesday. More than 40 million Americans are at risk of going without food assistance benefits at the end of the month if the shutdown continues. The layoffs are primarily affecting furloughed workers, with thousands already receiving notices. Some Republicans have voiced concern over the cuts. Meanwhile, Trump has frozen billions in infrastructure funding for Democrat-led states. Now in its 27th day, the shutdown is causing widespread disruption. Federal employees are working without pay, and active duty troops face missing their next paycheck. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, triggering strong backlash, Amazon has decided to slash nearly 14,000 corporate jobs beginning Tuesday. Amazon's corporate workforce includes some 350,000 employees. The job cuts expected to impact divisions of human resources, people experience technology, devices and services, and operations. The cuts come amid a broader push by CEO Andy Jassy to streamline operations, remove bureaucracy, and make greater use of artificial intelligence and automation, termed to be one of the biggest layoffs after 2022, when the retail giant cut some 27,000 jobs. It has stirred significant unease in the corporate world. Tensions between the United States and Venezuela escalated on Monday as two US B-1B bombers flew over the Caribbean near Venezuela, the third show of military force in recent weeks. The flights followed the docking of USS Gravely in Trinidad and Tobago for joint exercises, a move that Caracas condemned as provocations aimed at destabilizing the region. Following the escalation, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced the suspension of a major energy cooperation deal with Trinidad and Tobago, accusing Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bharati of turning her country into an aircraft carrier of the American empire. Trinidad's leader swiftly rejected the move, calling it blackmail, affirming her nation's independence and commitment to regional security. Earlier, Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello claimed that Venezuelan authorities dismantled a CIA-financed false flag attack plot on U.S. warship, arresting 4 suspects. The allegations came as Washington expanded its naval presence in the Caribbean, deploying additional warships and authorizing covert operations targeting Venezuela. Moving on, in Kenya, a small plane operated by Mombasa Air Safari crashed on Tuesday morning, killing all 11 people on board, including foreign passengers. The aircraft was en route to Quechua Tembo from tourist hotspot of Diani when it came down. Mombasa Air Safari chairman confirmed the accident, said there were 10 passengers, including 8 Hungarians, 2 Germans. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority said the government agencies were already at the site to establish the cause of the accident. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban expressed his condolences to the families of those involved in the crash. After the deadly cross-border clashes, peace talks between Pakistan and Afghanistan to secure a lasting truce remain deadlocked despite negotiations in Turkey's Istanbul. A Pakistani security source described the discussions as last-ditch effort, saying the Afghan delegation repeatedly changed its stance following directives from Kabul. Notably, the violence has killed dozens on both sides, with Pakistan warning that failure to reach an agreement could lead to open war. The border has been closed for 2 weeks, leaving hundreds stranded and truckloads of goods rotting near the borders. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on Tuesday that Russia cannot assess the peace negotiations with Ukraine because Kiev has put them on hold and is unwilling to answer questions posed by Russia. The Kremlin also said Russian troops were constantly hearing foreign languages spoken by those fighting for Ukraine on the front lines and promised that such fighters would be destroyed.
We are currently unable to assess the prospect for resuming the negotiation process because, as we have stated repeatedly, the current pause is due to Kyiv regime's reluctance to continue the negotiation process and its unwillingness to respond to the questions we ask, the draft documents we presented, and the proposals for further working formats within various groups. All of this has remained unanswered. Regarding the information from the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service about French troops in Ukraine, it is alarming. Although, on the other hand, our military constantly listens to foreign speech and foreign languages on radios along the line of contact, meaning these foreigners are there and we are eliminating them. Our military will continue to do their job.
India's premier public sector aerospace and defence company, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, signed a memorandum of understanding with Russia's United Aircraft Corporation, UAC, on Monday for production of civil jet SJ-100 in Moscow. Under this agreement, HAL will have manufacturing rights of SJ-100 aircraft for domestic customers. This will also be the first instance when a complete passenger aircraft will be produced in India. SJ-100 is a twin-engine, narrow-body aircraft. As on date, more than 200 aircraft have been produced and are being operated by more than 16 commercial airline operators. SJ-100 will be the game-changer for short-haul connectivity under Udan scheme in India. The last such project was HAL's production of Avro HS-748, which started in 1961 and ended in 1988. Seoul's Global Knowledge Exchange and Development Center showcased South Korea's growth story from post-war reconstruction in the 1950s to one of the world's leading economies today. This journey was founded on major financial and institutional reforms right till the grassroots level, investment in human capital, innovation, pragmatic and flexible approach that enabled Korea to turn even crises like East Asian financial crisis of 1997 into a window of opportunity that has made Korea of today a world leader in R&D, futuristic technologies like AI, humanoid robotics, self-driven mobility, and so on. With India at a similar inflection point, having its kind of demographic dividend, attractiveness as an investment destination and push towards sectors like semiconductor manufacturing, a pivot on its human capital could be defining pitch of the march towards Viksit Bharat or developed India in 2047. Byung-Ko Cho, Chairman, Korea Economic Cooperation Institute, believes India has an unmatched potential in human capital, which if directed to the correct sectors can turn the tables in India's favor in new age sectors like AI and semiconductor manufacturing. And still to come on DT India News Hour. India to showcase domestic manufacturing ecosystem at 7th edition of India Manufacturing Show. The Indian Navy, in partnership with National Maritime Foundation, is hosting the Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue. And India's Union Cabinet approves terms of reference of 8th Central Pay Commission.
Reddit users are debating whether British even used the divide and rule policy.
This question of whether there was divide and rule is like asking sort of whether the sun rises in the east. It was to accentuate the sense of separation and difference, which ultimately culminated in the tragic horrors of partition. Freedom struggle was a struggle for everybody. How can we accept the logic that had divided the nation? The original sin is right at the feet of the British.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. President of India, Draupadi Murmu, today delivered the keynote address at the 8th International Solar Alliance Assembly at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi, the first ever presidential address to the ISA. The event brings together delegates from 125 countries, reaffirming global commitment to solar cooperation and India's vision of one world, one sun, one grid.
India once again shines at the heart of the global solar movement. At the iconic Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi, President of India Draupadi Murmu delivered the keynote address at the 8th Assembly of the International Solar Alliance, marking the first ever presidential address to the ISA. Underscoring India's leadership in advancing global solar cooperation and the transformative vision of one world, one sun, one grid proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the President called for collective action to ensure affordable and accessible solar energy for all.
Solar energy is a rediscovery of an ancient truth, that is sun is the most democratic source of energy, accessible to all and belonging to none. The Solar for All initiative of the Government of India is based on this concept. Solar energy should not remain confined to the rooftop of the privileged. It should illuminate the homes of the poorest and open new opportunities for every person seeking a livelihood.
Union Minister for New and Renewable Energy and ISA Assembly President Prahlad Joshi said the forum reaffirms global solidarity and South-South cooperation, citing initiatives like $200 million Africa Solar Facility, Sunrise for Solar Waste Recycling, and the SIDS platform for island nations.
India is the voice of the global South, and through ISA, we are turning that voice into action, helping the nations harness the solar power and share technology. India's renewable tariffs, be it solar, solar plus battery, and green ammonia, are among the lowest globally. This reflects our ability to combine the scale with the speed and skill to make clean energy affordable.
ISA Director General Ashish Khanna highlighted that the world added its last 1,000 gigawatts of solar capacity in just 2 years, a clear sign of a fast unfolding solar revolution led by the Global South.
It took 25 years for the world to reach 1,000 gigawatt of solar, yet in just 2 years, the next 1,000 gigawatt has been reached. And not only that, the projections from all agencies, including ours, IEA and others, reflect that we are likely to double that even further in next 4 years to 4,600 gigawatt.
This year's assembly brings together ministers, policymakers and global partners from 125 member and signatory countries ahead of the crucial COP30 summit in Brazil. With Akshay Dongre, Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
Under the theme Uniting Oceans, One Maritime Vision, India Maritime Week 2025 is underway in Mumbai from 27 to 31st October. Hosted by Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, IMW 2025 is said to be the world's largest maritime gathering, bringing together key stakeholders from across global maritime ecosystem. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the Leaders' Conclave and Global Maritime CEO Forum during the event.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Mumbai on Wednesday to address the Maritime Leaders' Conclave and chair the Global Maritime CEO Forum at the India Maritime Week 2025. The Global Maritime CEO Forum will bring together CEOs of global maritime companies, major investors, policymakers, innovators, and international partners to deliberate on the future of the global maritime ecosystem. The Netherlands Minister of Infrastructure and Water Management, Robert Tiemann, who will be part of the CEO Forum, spoke to DD India about strengthening bilateral cooperation between India and the Netherlands in maritime and water management.
Memorandum of understanding, different types of topics are on there. For example, the training of the maritime professionals, but also table topics like the water quality, topics like the maritime agenda to manufacture vessels.
The Prime Minister's presence reaffirms his vision for a progressive maritime transformation aligned with the Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047, with over 350 international speakers. India Maritime Week 2025 is said to be a hub of industry expertise and strategic dialogue. The event will witness the signing of more than 600 memorandum of understanding, amounting to investment commitments exceeding 10 lakh crore rupees. The 5-day event brings together over 1 lakh participants from 85 countries, including 500 exhibitors, 350 speakers, and 12 concurrent conferences and exhibitions. India Maritime Week 2025 showcases the country's maritime resurgence and its vision to transform the nation into a global maritime leader by 2047.
India Maritime Week brings together policy, community, technology and business under one roof, shaping blue economy's future. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's participation underscores his commitment to the vision of Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047. With camera person Kapil Maske, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Mumbai.
The Netherlands Minister of Infrastructure, Water Management, Robert Tiemann, spoke to DD India correspondent Shama Mishra in Mumbai on the sidelines of India Maritime Week. He spoke about strengthening bilateral cooperation between India and the Netherlands in maritime and water management. The minister also highlighted key areas for future collaboration, including agreements and MOUs focused on developing smart, clean and digital ports.
So you've had an MOU yesterday with our Waterways Minister. What was this MOU about? And also a letter of intent was also done. How are you taking this India and Netherlands relationship ahead?
Yes, well, thank you for the question. We are in a good relationship with India from a maritime point of view. We are a seagoing nation, and you are also surrounded with water. So water really connects us. And since the year 2008, we've been working with memorandums of understanding between the countries. And the memorandum of understanding that was signed yesterday between Minister Sonowal and myself will run up for the next 3 years. And in that memorandum of understanding, different types of topics are on there. For example, the training of the maritime professionals, but also table topics like the water quality, topics like the maritime agenda to manufacture vessels. So different types of topics are in there, and then we can discuss that with also different companies, because now the country, India and the Netherlands have an MOU.
Our Prime Minister has this Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047. How do you see that? And overall, India's maritime sector, the growth of it, how do you see that?
Well, the growth will be challenging, also from a capacity point of view. For example, the company IHC has a production facility in Cochin in the south, where the first dredging barges will be manufactured. But I also see an interesting topic, and that's called the inland waterway transportation. And transportation over water, but also rail connectivity is very important. So the ports is one thing, but you also need the hinterland transportation towards the consumers, towards the production facilities. And I think it would be very interesting for India to also leave space for production areas along the rivers. So from that production facility, it can be easily transferred over to inland waterways, up to the ports, and from the ports to Europe. I think that would be something to look into even deeper, because that's a huge potential.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Yes.
So definitely India Maritime Week is one place where all the countries are coming together to have a better future for the blue economy. With camera person Kapil Maske, this is Shyama Mishra for ED India, Mumbai.
And India's vision of strengthening its domestic manufacturing ecosystem will get a major boost at 7th edition of India Manufacturing Show, IMS 2025 in Bengaluru from November 6th to 8th. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will inaugurate India's premier trade fair for aerospace, defence and general engineering sectors at the Bangalore International Exhibition Centre, organised by IMS Foundation under the aegis of Laghu Udyog Bharati and supported by Ministry of Defence, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Ministry of Steel and Heavy Industries and the Government of Karnataka. IMS 2025 will see participation of over 450 exhibitors, including over 200 MSMEs alongside state pavilions and defence PSUs. The event will also host the IMSCON 2025, the two-day international conference on empowering India, the future of global manufacturing. HBS Krishna, Chairman IMS Foundation, expressed that IMS 2025 will soon be an international brand. Addressing the media, Sunil Deodhar, Member Advisory Board, IMS 2025, said the enthusiasm among MSMEs clearly reflects India's manufacturing preparedness and a strong push towards integrating into global defence and aerospace supply chains.
MSMEs ऐसी है कि जो ऑलरेडी अपना सारा काम करते आ रही है, प्रोडक्शन करते आ रही है, सालों से उनका काम चल रहा है, लेकिन MSMEs के अंदर स्टार्टअप्स, इसके लिए भी इस बार उन्होंने बहुत बड़ा स्थान दिया है और ये जो इतने सारे रजिस्ट्रेशन हुए उसमें कई सारे स्टार्टअप्स हैं कि जो इसमें अपना आकर हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं, क्या हमारा प्रोडक्ट है, उसको लोगों को दिखाने का काम करने वाले हैं। 8 प्रकार के इसमें सेमिनार्स होंगे, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस होंगी और 8 के विषय इतने रिलेवेंट है कि कंटेम्पररी जो आवश्यकताएं लोगों की है उसकी जानकारी देने का, उनकी पूर्ति करने का काम इन कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में होगा। तो हम 3 दिन बैंगलोर क्यों जाए? सिर्फ MSMEs के स्टॉल विजिट करने के लिए नहीं जाए, तो हमें और कुछ ज्ञान मिलेगा, जो हमको मालूम नहीं है वो चीजें मिलेंगी। जो सक्सेसफुल लोग हैं वो आकर कुछ बोलकर जाते हैं, उनको सुनते हैं तो सक्सेस की चाबी मिलती है उसमें।
Moving on, the Indian Navy, in partnership with the National Maritime Foundation, is hosting the Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue, IPRD 2025, from Tuesday to Thursday at the Manekshaw Centre in Delhi. IPRD 2025, themed promoting holistic maritime security and growth, regional capacity building and capability enhancement, is Indian Navy's flagship international outreach aligned with India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative and the Mahasagar Vision. Now, in its 7th edition, the dialogue brings together 42 speakers from 23 countries to address climate security, blue economy, supply chains, and regional cooperation, focusing on actionable outcomes and stronger collaborations among governments, international bodies, academia, industry, civil society for a secure and sustainable Indo-Pacific. The Indian Coast Guard successfully carried out a long-range medical evacuation of a critically injured Iranian fisherman from fishing dhow Al-Qais, located in the middle of Arabian Sea, some 1,500 kilometers west of Kochi. The operation commenced when Maritime Rescue Coordination Center, or MRCC, Mumbai, received information from MRCC Chabahar, Iran, regarding medical emergency and engine failure on board the Iranian fishing vessel Al-Khwais. The vessel had 5 crew members, including its master, Allah Bakhsh, an Iranian national who sustained serious injuries to both eyes and deep lacerations on his right ear following an onboard explosion during fuel transfer to the generator. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, MRCC Mumbai immediately activated the international safety net to alert vessels in the vicinity and initiate coordinated assistance. ICG ship Sachet, which was on return passage from an overseas deployment to East African countries, was directed to render immediate assistance. The terms of reference of 8th Central Pay Commission has been finally approved by the Union Cabinet, which met today. In fact, in January this year, the government had announced formation of the 8th Central Pay Commission to examine and recommend changes in the salaries and other benefits of central government employees. It will revise the salary of nearly 50 lakh central government employees. 8th Pay Panel will submit recommendations within 18 months. It is likely to come into effect from 1st of January next year. Still to come on DT India News Hour. We'll talk about the rise of India's electronics exports.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DT India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Electronics have emerged as India's third largest and fastest growing export category in 24-25, rising from the 7th position in 2021-22. Smartphone exports hit a new record, in fact, of $1.8 billion last month. Electronics items are now ranked third largest among all exported goods from India. With electronics component manufacturing taking roots in the country, the growth of electronics will generate thousands of new jobs. DT India's Dheeraj Das gets us more.
Electronics have become the engine of innovation and growth, powering economies and redefining the technological landscape. Across the world, the sector is driving advancements in communication, automation, and connectivity, shaping how societies live, work, and interact. India has rapidly transformed into a major electronics manufacturing hub, marking nearly a six-fold increase in production over the past decade. The electronics sector has not only expanded its industrial base, but has also created 2.5 million jobs in the last 10 years, underscoring its role as a key driver of employment and economic growth. Strategic government initiatives and strong policy support have further boosted local manufacturing, expanded exports, and attracted significant global investments. India has rapidly transformed into a global hub for electronics manufacturing, driven by initiatives like Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India. Strong policy support, technological advancements, and a skilled workforce have propelled both production and exports to unprecedented levels.
Electronics manufacturing is now growing at a double-digit CAGR. Very rapidly it is expanding, and today electronics manufacturing is giving employment to about 25 lakh persons directly. और इस साल US को जो smartphones जाते थे, उसमें India has surpassed our neighbor in exporting smartphones to United States.
Electronics production increased from 1.9 lakh crore Indian rupees in 2014-15 to 11.3 lakh crore Indian rupees in 2024-25, nearly a six-fold rise. Exports grew 8 times, from 38,000 crore Indian rupees to 3.27 lakh crore Indian rupees during the same period. In the last 10 years, electronics manufacturing in India has created 2.5 million jobs. India has attracted more than $4 billion in FDI inflow in the field of electronics manufacturing since 2020-21. Top 5 export destinations for Indian electronic goods in 2024-25 have been the US, UAE, the Netherlands, the UK, and Italy. Mobile manufacturing has played a major role in India's electronics leap. India has now achieved near self-reliance in mobile production. moving from importing most of its requirements a decade ago to manufacturing almost all devices domestically. Mobile phone production increased from 18,000 crore Indian rupees in 2014-15 to 5.45 lakh crore Indian rupees in 2024-25, a 28-fold rise. India has become the world's second largest mobile phone manufacturer. Mobile manufacturing industry has scaled rapidly from just 2 units in 2014 to over 300 today. Exports surged 127 times from 1500 crore Indian rupees in 2014-15 to 2 lakh crore Indian rupees in 2024-25. In 2024, Apple exports from India hit a record 12.8 billion US dollars, crossing the 1 lakh crore rupees mark with a 42% growth. In Q2 FY 2025-26, India overtook China to become the top smartphone exporter to the United States. India's electronics industry has grown on the back of strong policy support and targeted government initiatives. Schemes like the Production Linked Incentive, Scheme for Promotion of Manufacturing of Electronic Components, Semiconductors, and Electronics Components Manufacturing Scheme, and National Policy on Electronics 2019 aim to build a globally competitive manufacturing ecosystem, attract investment, and create large scale employment while strengthening India's role in global value chains. With the ambitious vision of building a $500 billion domestic electronics manufacturing ecosystem by 2030-31, India is poised to emerge as a global technology leader, innovating for the world while creating vast opportunities at home. Dheeraj Das's report, DD India.
And to talk about India's electronics boom, joining us is Pankaj Mohindru, Chairman, India Cellular and Electronics Association. Mr. Mohindru, good evening and welcome. What factors would you say have contributed significantly to this rise of India's electronics manufacturing and exports?
You know, industry always is built on the shoulders of entrepreneurs and GVCs, global value chains. What enables GVCs and entrepreneurs to grow in an industry is a very enabling environment. And this is what we are witnessing here. You see, no pun intended, but the big, beautiful plan which some countries are talking about. In electronics, India has all our ducks lined up. We've had great leadership, of course, with the Honorable Prime Minister leading the way, and our Minister for Electronics, and a very, very strong team in the MeitY. The industry and government are working very closely to enable India to reach the levels. And it is the scale which is today helping us because at approximately $65 billion of mobile phone manufacturing, we are in a big boys league, and that scale is enabling us to see that the supply chain starts coming into India. And this is what we are witnessing with the great success of the ECM, the latest scheme, which is across the board. It is horizontal. It serves all the categories of mobiles.
Right.
And it will build very deep competitiveness for the electronics industry in India, which will enable the other verticals also to take off.
Okay. Also, if we take a macro view of the electronics sector in particular, we see that US and Japan today have signed an agreement to reduce dependence on a Chinese supply chain of electronics components in particular. What importance does India play in the electronics global supply chain?
See, we are a very large market of products in terms of volume. At 220 million smartphones, for example, we are approximately 10% of the global, more than 10% of the global demand. So this is a positive, but that is the volume market. In the supply chain, we are becoming a very key participant, and the chain is now getting built based on the exports and the volumes we have achieved in smartphones. And that scale is rubbing off on the other verticals also, like IT hardware, which is progress in making, consumer electronics, wearable wearables, auto electronics, all these other segments. We have never looked at import substitution as such, but rather to utilize India's strength to export at a large scale. We have crossed 3 lakh crores of exports of electronics with mobile phones at 2 lakh crores. And this year, numbers are going to surprise everybody.
Right. On that
So
note,
it's and we are, it was believed that India will export to African and Middle East, etc., which are closer markets. But the smartphone, mobile phone export has completely changed that. Almost every second phone which is used in the US in this year, as the Honorable Ministers, I saw his this thing will be phone produced in India. So it is a tribute to India's technological and manufacturing capability that the so-called first world countries of the world, which is Europe and the US, are primarily importing smartphones from India.
Okay, on that note, Mr. Pankaj Mohindru, appreciate you joining us on the News Hour and sharing your perspective. Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. A CNG bus operated by ASATS, that's Air India's ground handling service provider, caught fire near C-34 at Delhi Airport's Terminal 3 on Tuesday afternoon. The driver safely evacuated all passengers before the fire spread. According to Central Industrial Security Force, a technical malfunction likely caused the blaze. The airport's aircraft rescue and firefighting team quickly extinguished the fire. No injury or damage to aircraft or facilities have been reported. The Delhi Metro Rail Corporation has won the ICI Award 2025 by Indian Concrete Institute, Chennai, for its Mojpur Majlis Park corridor under Outstanding Pre-Stressed Concrete Structure category. The award will be presented at the Colonial Annual Convention of the Indian Concrete Institute Conference in December 2025, Hyderabad. The Phase 4 Pink Line extension will form India's first circular ring metro, enhancing Delhi's connectivity. Still to come on DD India News Hour. India's vice captain Smriti Mandhana remains top spot in ICC Women's ODI batter rankings. And India's ODI vice captain Shreyas Iyer's condition is stable. He's been moved out of the intensive care unit.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. A colossal monster of a storm is steering through the Caribbean. Hurricane Balisa, a ferocious Category 5 hurricane, has smashed into Jamaica with winds above 300 kilometers an hour, unleashing catastrophic destruction. And now the storm is hurtling towards Cuba, threatening millions of lives.
Hurricane Melissa hit Jamaica with unrelenting fury. A Category 5 behemoth packing winds of over 300 kilometers an hour. Massive storm surges, flash floods, and landslides left the island battling a disaster of historic scale.
In addition to the rain and to the destructive wind, you will have storm surge that is expected as well on the southern coast of Jamaica, with 3 to 4 meters high, in addition to destructive waves. So it's a catastrophic situation that is expected to be in Jamaica.
As authorities ordered mandatory evacuations, the International Federation of the Red Cross warns of a humanitarian catastrophe. Up to 1.5 million people in Jamaica could be directly affected as rescue teams brace for a surge in casualties and displacement.
If we estimate, I mentioned 1.5 million people may be impacted, but that's an underestimate, because the impacts on people will include disruptions of essential services, impacts on markets, schools will be closed, and landslides will block roads. It means the entire populations may feel the impact one way or the other.
As Balisa tightened its grip, emergency crews scrambled in a race against time, clearing drains, securing coastlines, and moving families from flood-prone zones.
We are here along Howard Cook Boulevard in Montego Bay as we are preparing ourselves for Hurricane Melissa. We're doing some final preparation work in terms of doing the drain cleaning exercise.
Now eastern Cuba is in the crosshairs, with Melissa tracking dangerously close after pounding Jamaica. Cuba is bracing for impact. More than 250,000 people have been moved into shelters across Santiago de Cuba alone, amid fears this could be one of the strongest storms ever recorded in the Caribbean.
My house is in very bad condition. The members of government quickly told me that I had to evacuate as soon as possible due to the proximity of this Category 5 hurricane. It is very dangerous for Santiago de Cuba. We must preserve life, we must preserve it above all else. And I acted quickly. I arrived and they received me. They are giving me the minimum and maximum care, including medical attention.
A catastrophic storm, 2 nations on the edge, and millions in peril. For the Caribbean, this isn't just a hurricane, it's a fight for survival. Bureau Report, DD India.
And in India, authorities remain on high alert as the latest observations indicate that landfall process of Cyclone Montha has commenced on Andhra Pradesh coast between Kakinada and Machilipatnam. The landfall process is expected to continue for the next 3 to 4 hours. The severe storm is expected to bring heavy rains, strong winds, high tides, impacting parts of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and northern Tamil Nadu. Authorities have issued alerts and are ensuring extensive preparedness for public safety. Deputy Director of Visakhapatnam Cyclone Warning Centre, SVV J. Kumar, said all the requisite information has been shared with authorities to minimize cases of mishappenings.
Advisories, signals, warnings and all required requisite information, impact-based forecast has been sent to disaster managers including State Disaster Management Authority as well as the district collectors. So everyone including the common people have to take essential and necessary measures to prevent themselves from any kind of disastrous occurrences.
The National Disaster Response Force has been actively monitoring the situation. A total of 26 NDRF teams have been deployed in active operations, while 19 teams are kept in reserve across the states, expected to bear the maximum brunt.
So total our 26 teams are presently deployed in active ops, and we are having around 19 teams in reserve. And out of those 26, maximum 12 teams are in Andhra Pradesh, because that is the area where it is likely to impact more. Then 6 teams, they are in Odisha, and some part of the north Tamil Nadu is also likely to be affected. So there are 3 teams deployed there. And recently, yesterday, we have deployed some teams in Telangana also and Chhattisgarh also.
And for more updates on Cyclone Monta, we are joined by DD India correspondent Ritesh Ranjan from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Ritesh, what is the latest that you are learning about the cyclone and its impact?
Well, the latest update which is coming up, Chennai rain has stopped and nearby district rain has stopped. But there are still some districts where it is still raining in Tamil Nadu. And because of it's not only about Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha are the most affected states where it is still raining, and the government has announced no vehicle movement, and the fishermen should not venture to sea. And in Odisha and Andhra Pradesh, school holidays have been declared. In Tamil Nadu, the situation is still to be assessed because the rain has stopped for a couple of hours. We have not seen rain in Chennai and Tamil Nadu, various districts of Tamil Nadu. So school, colleges, it depends on the whole night what the situation is. And district collectors have been announced to continuously monitor the situation and take the decision accordingly. If the rain continues and intensifies, then the school and colleges have to be closed. Then because of this continuous raining, from Monday night it started raining and it continued raining. It stopped. Again started. It was drizzling, but rain continued, and because of this continuous rain, the reservoirs nearby Chennai district, the Chembarbakam and Ranipete, these reservoirs have crossed 95% of the capacity limit. So that is why the Water Resource Department have to release waters. 1,000 cusecs of water have been released in today afternoon. And if it is it does not rain tonight, then situation can be little bit lighter. But we are seeing that lot of because of this rain, water logging problem and that traffic congestion is there in many parts of city and nearby districts.
Okay, Ritesh, thank you for those updates. Stay safe. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for all the action from sports. India's vice captain and opener Smriti Mandhana maintained her position at the top of ICC Women's ODI batter rankings following her stellar performances against New Zealand and Bangladesh. Mandhana's 109-run knock against New Zealand and an unbeaten 34 against Bangladesh lifted her to the career best rating of 828. The Indian opener has been in phenomenal form, having been named ICC Women's Player of the Month for September 25 for her contributions in ODI series against Australia. Meanwhile, India's Pratika Rawal entered the top 30 with a rating of 564, reflecting her consistent performances in the World Cup and recent bilateral series. India ODI vice captain Shreyas Iyer, who suffered a ruptured spleen and ribcage injury during third ODI against Australia, continues to recover at a Sydney hospital after being moved out of the intensive care unit. India's T20 skipper Suryakumar Yadav provided an update on Shreyas's recovery, revealing that he is stable, has been responding to messages over the phone. The development has eased widespread concern over the 29-year-old batter's condition, which had briefly turned critical following internal bleeding. Shreyas has been shifted out of the ICU, but it may take a few more days before he's discharged from the hospital. Shreyas Iyer sustained injury after taking a difficult running catch to dismiss Alex Carey in the third India versus Australia match. After the ODIs, it's now time for the shortest format of the game to take centre stage. 5-match T20 series between world's two top sides, India, Australia, is set to begin on Wednesday. India will be looking for redemption under the captaincy of T20 skipper Suryakumar Yadav, who recently led the team to Asia Cup title. With T20 World Cup just months away, every match, every experiment, every performance matters. Here's a look at what to expect when men in blue take on Aussies down under. The 5-match T20 International Series beginning Wednesday in Canberra will see number 1 ranked India face off against number 2 ranked Australia, both fine-tuning their combinations ahead of 2026 T20 World Cup. While the ODI series may not have carried much weight beyond preparations for the 2027 World Cup, this T20 series holds far greater importance in the immediate future. India will be high on confidence after their recent triumph in the Asia Cup in September. India's T20 vice captain Gill will aim to continue their scintillating opening partnership with flamboyant partner Abhishek Sharma at the top. Fiery batters like captain Suryakumar Yadav, Tilak Verma, Sanju Samson and Rinku Singh make India an even more dynamic unit. India's major challenge will be finding the right team balance. With their batting depth, all-round options like Akshar Patel and Shivam Dubey, the young quicks like Harshit Rana, The men in blue look well equipped. The return of Jasprit Bumrah, rested during the ODIs, provides a huge boost to India's bowling attack. Alongside bowlers like Arshdeep Singh and Kuldeep Yadav, Bumrah adds pace, precision and balance.
ऐसे नहीं देख रहे कि हम बाहर के कंट्री में आए हैं खेलने के लिए, तो कुछ अलग तरीके से देखेंगे इस सीरीज को. We'll look at it at the same way. It's a build-up to the World Cup, but at the same time, it's a beautiful country to play cricket, and it's quite challenging as well. So I'm sure it will be a good one.
For Australia, the series is equally crucial. The Aussies have reinvented their approach under captain Mitchell Marsh, going all in on fearless, far-hitting cricket. Form-wise, both teams are red-hot. While Australia have just lost one match in their previous 5 completed T20 matches, India have remained unbeaten. In head-to-head, India dominate with 20 wins in 32 T20s, including a memorable victory in 2024 World Cup Super 8 stage in St. Lucia. The series kicks off in Canberra before moving to Melbourne, Hobart, Gold Coast and finally Brisbane. 5 cities, 5 contests, 1 rivalry that never gets old. All eyes will be on Suryakumar Yadav, who will be aiming to rediscover his old touch after a lean patch.
I'm still working hard. I've had good few sessions back home, good 2-3 sessions here. So I'm in good space. I think that is really important. Runs, it will come eventually, but I think working hard towards a team goal, it's more important what team wants from you in different situations, and I take one game at a time.
A battle of class and intent awaits as heavyweights India and Australia clash in one of the most anticipated T20 series of the year. Sports Desk, DD India. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on your screen and download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.